That's happening against the backdrop of the Greenbelt controversy, but nevertheless, the promise of a $500,000 home. Let's bring in Andrew Joyner. He's managing director of the Canadian multifamily portfolio at Tricon Residential. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Amber.
All of these proposals, they got to work with you. You're a builder. And it seems like now we're at least getting the politicians talking about it, trying to put real solutions on the table. From what you're hearing, all the bits and bobs, does it smell like progress?
It does, Amber, and I think what's really encouraging is for the first time in many years, all three levels of government are on the same page. They're all talking about housing supply as the way to remedy the housing challenges that grip Torontonians today. And so very encouraged by what Minister Fraser said, as well as Premier Ford. I think the real opportunity, candidly, is the HST element that Minister Fraser spoke about. We have a situation today where when we're trying to build more purpose-built rental projects, about 25% of those project budgets go to the government, the municipal government in the form of development charges, and then the province and the feds in the form of HST. And so I think looking at ways to take away some of the cost headwinds that are currently standing in the way of new projects will really help unlock new supply.
I get it, and then the critique will be, well, then this will be a huge, a windfall to developers who are already profiting by selling, these homes at much more than what it costs to build it.
So I can't speak to that. I'll speak about what we do at Tricon, which is purpose-built rental. And so we build rental communities that we own and operate long-term. We partner with major Canadian pension funds to do so. And right now, we're faced with a situation in Canada where the combination of construction cost increases and high interest rates are candidly standing in the way of new projects and new supply. And so in order for us to build the housing supply that's so needed to help restore equilibrium, we need to remove barriers.
So let's say that barrier is removed or lower. What could you do? Is this like kind of overnight? You could get to getting picks in the ground?
Yeah, what it'll do is it'll help improve project viability. And I think with that, more projects will start. And I think when also we don't have a situation where 25% of our project costs are payable to government, if we're not paying that, we have an ability to reduce our rents and help create more affordable housing.
I guess I'm trying to get a sense from you, like what's the pipeline that you're sitting at, projects that you're sort of humming and hawing over? Because demand is so high, right? It should be easy for you to say, well, yeah, of course the business case is there.
Absolutely. So back in 2016, Tricon was one of the first movers to enter the purpose-built rental market here in Toronto with scale. And today we're the most active developer in the market. We have about 6,000 units either under construction or in lease-up. In terms of the opportunity to add more supply, which is something that we are committed to doing and wanting to do more, I would tell you, Amber, that we probably look at about 150 new opportunities every year, and we typically embark on between 1 and 2.
Oh.
And it's not because of a shortage of capital or enthusiasm for wanting to build more rental housing. It's because the project viability is such that it's really only in specific circumstances we're able to make projects work. So reducing those headwinds and barriers is an absolute way to unlock more supply.
If you're looking at 100 opportunities, more than that per year, it doesn't sound like there's a shortage of opportunities or even a shortage of land. There's this great controversy about whether we need to go after the Greenbelt. I mean, forget about how it was approached, but do you need the Greenbelt to open up to get these opportunities?
At Tricon, we're focused on housing in the downtown core.
Okay.
Our core customer is a 24 to 34-year-old millennial who lives south of the 401, close to transit and major employment hubs. So when I speak about the opportunities we're looking at, we're really focused on opportunities in the downtown core. Some are too big, some are too small, some have cost challenges. So it's not like every single one of them is necessarily a great opportunity, but we look a lot, and we also look at partnering with government. We heard from Doug Ford speaking about public-private partnerships and unlocking land to build housing supply. And at Tricon, we have over 2,500 units in our portfolio where we've partnered with all three levels of government, the city, the province, and the feds to build affordable housing at scale.
The average cost of a home is well above $500,000. That promise to say we're going to build a home for $500,000 in a place that's not 2 hours away from everything. realistic in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think the details of the program haven't come out yet, but I think it's absolutely realistic. I think the size of the homes, the fact that they have a basement, as Minister Ford said, excuse me, Premier Ford said, is very compelling. I think they're modestly sized entry-level homes, and I think that's exactly what we need more of in Canada, both for sale and for rent.
Because you're so focused on that kind of downtown area, that went through a lot of things during the pandemic. I have two questions. One, you said so 24 to 35 demographic. Are they back in the city? A lot of them moved to places like Barrie or other places. Are they coming back?
Absolutely, and I think we all read the same headlines on the work from home trends, but one of the things that's been incredibly encouraging, notwithstanding that people are working more from home, the demand for housing in the downtown core remains very robust. We launched a project last October at King and Spadina, just around the corner here actually, and we're completely full, 98% stabilized within 7 months. So real proof point for demand, and we launched.
Is that all investors? Like, do you have a sense of is that investors or people that are buying because they want to live there?
So again, we are exclusively focused on purpose-built rental.
Okay.
So it's 100% rental. So everyone who's moved in is an end user renter.
And the second one is, so what are you doing around vacant offices? There's so much talk about converting them to. What are you going to convert them to? Condos or places that you can live.
Great question. It's sort of the number one issue that most cities are talking about today, and we're currently studying what's been done in Boston and Calgary and San Francisco and other markets where there's been more city incentives and programs to catalyze conversions. Tricon is a residential company. We have a very, very limited amount of office within our portfolio that could be converted, and it's certainly something that we're studying. But I guess
could office become available for you to buy and convert?
Yeah. I think that phase will come. I would say that not every office building is a great candidate. Some buildings have low floor-to-ceiling heights. Some have a very large, about 25,000 square foot floor plate, whereas residential buildings it's closer to 8,000. And so if you have a very large floor plate that will have dark space, it's not great livable space to actually convert. But there's certainly some buildings with smaller plates and high ceilings that are good candidates, and those are real opportunities.
All right.